We're going to go straight to the French Football Federation, in fact, where the French Federation President, Philippe Diallo, is revealing Zinedine Zidane, expected to very shortly, as the new French football manager.
Commend all the work of Didier Deschamps and his personnel during this World Cup. And more generally, I'd like to really pay homage to him because for 14 years, he led our national team and he led it to great heights. He fixed and repaired the image of the national team, which had been tarnished before he took the lead. And he really built an exceptional sporting performance of the team and led it to become world champions. And so at the end of this cycle, I think it's important to show gratitude and really commend the work that Didier carried out during the last 14 years. In January 2025, Didier Deschamps announced that he would not want to renew his contract. And because of that, I was confronted with an unprecedented situation, that to have to find a solution to make sure that this golden age of French football, this last decade during which the French team has really shined everywhere, it was important for me to find a solution to be able to continue this golden age and to make sure that the sporting accomplishments of the French team, its image, its capacity to bring together the people of France, to make sure that this could all be continued in a new cycle. We started reflecting on this after Didier made his announcement, and I made a commitment, the commitment to state that the Federation would be ready when the moment came. And that moment has come. It has come today, and the Federation is indeed ready. The Federation is ready because from February 2025 onwards, I started meeting with Zinedine Zidane. I got in touch with him in order to offer him this mission to lead the French national team. And since then, we have met several times in order to, little by little, prepare for his appointment. We have had many exchanges, and they marked the coming together of two ambitions. On the one hand, Zinedine, as you know, is one of the legends of French football. And for many years, he had let us know that one of his dreams would be to lead the French team. And then on the side of the Federation, there was also an ambition, and that was to have someone who, after this wonderful decade of France's team, someone who would have the necessary skills, who would also be carried in the hearts of the French people, someone who would be really up to the task of leading one of the best football federations in the world. And it is at the crossroads of these two ambitions that pushed us to be able to find the agreements that would allow us to stand here in front of you today. After consulting with the Federation's Executive Committee this morning, after having submitted to them the nomination of Zinedine Zidane, I thus have the privilege, the great honor, and I won't hide that it's something that also fills me with emotion, to be able to tell you that Zinedine Zidane will be the new head coach of the French national team for the 4 upcoming years. This will cover the qualifications to the Nations League, the Euro 2028, and the qualifiers for the 2030 World Cup, which will take place in Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. This contract comes into force on the 1st of August, in a few days. And as agreed with the head coach, he will present the whole of his staff at the beginning of September, a few weeks before the first training camps and the first matches that will take place in September. Especially those will take place in Turkey. So that's what I wanted to say to you as a bit of an introduction. And I wanted to share with you my joy and the pride of the whole of the French Football Federation, of its executive committee, the pride and honor to be able to give the reins, to put one of our greatest legends in charge, someone who started in the field as a player and someone who is also a coach and who has an immense talent and skills, among other things because of the successes he knew as trainer for Real Madrid and manager of that club. So this is a new cycle that is starting today, and I'm very lucky to have see the planets aligned and that have made it possible for this legend to be able to continue their adventure and their history with the national team and lead this squad. Mr. Zinedine, I've said a lot, but I'm sure that I'm not the voice that people really wanted to listen to, so now I'll give you the floor. Very well. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mr. President. So I'd first like to voice a few words of support to all the firefighters and all the people who are looking after all these people who are undergoing a very difficult situation today. I know that many families are going through very difficult times as we meet today. So that's the first thought I wanted to share with you. Second, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for the trust you've put in me. I'd like to thank the executive committee with whom we spoke this morning. And I'd also like to thank all the employees of the French Football Federation for all the work they've done, all the work that they keep doing day after day. I think that the Federation works very well, but that's thanks to the great team that you have. Today is just a continuation of a certain dream. What I can say to you is that for the last 4 or 5 years, I've received different proposals. These 4 or 5 years when I wasn't working, I was offered to manage different teams, and I refused all of these options because I was waiting for the French team. Coaching the French team is the only thing I wanted to do after my career, after the experience I had as manager of Real Madrid. The only thing I wanted to do is to train the French team. I started with them. I went through all the different stages until I reached the A squad, which was the really height of my career. And I'm great pride today to be the coach of our national squad, and I'll do everything to make us succeed. It's the only thing that really drives me, and that is to work for this French team and to make sure that France keeps winning. Of course, as you've said, I'd also like to commend Didier Deschamps and his entire staff for the 14 years that he devoted to France. Remarkable years, so bravo, Didier, for everything you've done. Of course, everyone is grateful for the work that you've done, and I'd like to congratulate to you. It's a good moment for me to say bravo. And now a new chapter opens with a new staff, with new people. But the goal is always the same, and that is to see the French team win. So, Mr. President, you've chosen me, and I'll do my best and put all my energy so that this team wins. And I really can't wait to get started. So thank you very much.
Merci.
Thank you.
Voilà, vous avez l'essentiel.
So that's it in a nutshell. Now, of course, we're here to answer any of your questions.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Zinedine. Bonjour.
Hello, Zinedine and Philippe. Louis One from Agence France Presse. I have a question to both of you. First for you, Zinedine. So, of course, your name has been dropped quite a few times as to be head of the French team. You haven't hidden your desire to be the head coach. So now, what are your ideas? And also for you, Philippe, was Zinedine the obvious choice, or were there other names on your shortlist? Or for me, it's a huge joy. Quite honestly, I'm really happy with what's happening today, the fact that I can be the head coach of the French national team. I don't really have words to express this, but I've got lots of emotions that are going through me. But I stand ready to meet the challenge. That's what's driving me today, and that's what will drive my work with the French team. Like I said, we're very proud. Of course, it's also a great responsibility because after these 10 excellent years, you really need to find someone that has your trust and that you can trust to follow on this trajectory for the years to come. But when you look at Zinedine's profile, it seemed like the obvious choice. I met with him for the first time starting in February 2025 after Didier had announced he wouldn't continue, and I told him that one thing really marked me and that maybe really made up my mind, and that's when we were discussing things, he said to me, "I know how to win, Mr. President." And when he told me that, I really got the impression that this was someone who really had the desire, who had the confidence to lead this team to the win. And that's something that we need to make sure that our team can succeed in the years ahead. Hi, Zinedine. I'm from the Figaro. You said you refused many different offers in the last 4 or 5 years. Is today, the 28th of July 2026, the most beautiful day of your career as a coach? Yes. And second question, what will the Zidane style be in the French team? Well, the style, you'll see what it is very soon. I'm sure we'll have a press conference in September where I'll be able to explain things. But right now, we just have the time to present my appointment, and then we'll be able to talk about all the details later. But what I can tell you is that I'm really driven by the game. I played as number 10. And what really drives me is to get goals. But what really drives me is the game itself. I lived in Spain for 25 years. You know what that means. I started in France. I was number 10, and as you know, on the field, I was a leader, the field leader, and now I'll also be a leader, but through my experience, through what I've learned as a player, as a coach. But you'll see things little by little. We'll meet again very soon, I'm sure. But this is really what I wanted to do. Once you've really been part of the French team, I started small and then I made my way up the ranks. I won with France, won the World Cup in '98. It was the most amazing thing I experienced, winning with my friends in '98. Thanks to that whole team, thanks to all the people who made sure that we could win the cup. But I spent the last 4 or 5 years to wait for this very day. And now it's become a reality. So of course it's very emotional for me. You might not be able to tell, but I'm really excited. It's a really powerful moment for me today. Of course, at the same time, difficult things are happening for many people in the world right now, but I'm really happy for myself right now. Yes, hi, I'm from L'Équipe. I have a question for the president as well. You were number 10 for the French team. You were the captain of the team. Can you tell us if Mbappe, who's number 10 now, who's now captain, will he remain captain? And also, can you tell us if there will be a homage for the former coach of the French team in September for Didier Deschamps? Well, we haven't really spoken with Kylian right now because the most important thing for him is to make the most of the rest that he has now. He really well-deserved rest after this whole season, after the World Cup, and then we'll have time to speak to Kylian Mbappe about all this when we meet again in September. I suggested that Didier come here to the Federation just after the World Cup. We couldn't do that, but I really would like to pay homage to what he's done as the head coach of the French national selection. So we'll try and organize that to pay homage to him when the time's right. Hi, I'm from L'Équipe. I have a question for Mr. Diallo. You said, or Zidane, you said to President Diallo that you know how to win. So what is your project? And Mr. Diallo, you said you met Mr. Zidane in February many times since then. When did you get his final agreement to become head coach? I can't explain how we'll win in just a few brief words, but what I know is that the most important thing is that we have what it takes. We have extraordinary players. We have an amazing team, and that's really something. And then, of course, I have to take stock of the situation. I have to see the players. I have to explain to them what my plan is, what my philosophy is, what we'll do together, and then it will be my role as head coach to lead this team and to make sure it keeps winning, because what's been done until now, what Didier has done up until now is really amazing, and I'll make sure that I'll keep this team winning. I said that we met for the first time in February 2025. We met one-on-one. And I can say, I think that we connected quite naturally, and I knew straight away that Zinedine had this desire to lead the French squad, and it was really in line with what the Federation wanted. So things happened very naturally, very quickly, because it was quite obvious.
Zinedine, bonjour.
Zinedine, I'm Jean from RMC. During these 4 and 5 years, what was it like for you, your relationship with football? We saw you in the stadiums. Were you looking at the French team through the eyes of a fan, or were you already thinking through this prism of leading it as a coach? Well, I've always looked at the French team as a fan, but I also looked at it as a future coach. I've already said it. I've always said it, that I had this ambition.
Penser ce qu'il veut, hein, et il y a pas de souci, mais en tous les cas, je me suis dit que
I said to myself that the only thing I wanted to do after coaching Real Madrid was to coach the French team.
Avoir un projet, suivre un projet pendant 2-3 ans.
Of course, I could have had a different plan for a few years,
Une fois qu'il a pris sa décision,
for 2 or 3 years.
Et je crois que c'était en janvier 2025.
But then when the idea was all put to me back in January 2025, I was filled with this desire to be the next France coach. And so that's why we met with the president in February.
Et l'accord
And
a été scellé à ce moment-là.
then that's when we reached an agreement.
Bonjour Zinedine. Dans le
Hi
foot, Louis Vic,
Zinedine, I'm Louis
Canal+,
Vic
on le
from
sait, vous
Canal+.
connaissez très bien l'Espagne. Ça fait 3
As
ans que l'équipe de France
we know, you
joue à
know
Roja et que ça se passe
Spain
pas très bien.
very well.
Vous diriez que battre l'Espagne
France has been
constitue l'un
playing
de
against
vos plus grands
Spain
défis.
for quite a while. Would you say that playing against Spain is one of the biggest challenges for France? Well, it's not the only challenge. It's not when you want to win, you have to win against all the teams. But it's true that Spain is a difficult team. I know very well how it goes with Spanish football, but the priority isn't Spain right now. The first priority is Turkey, because that's the first team we're playing against. There's going to be 4 matches in September. That's a good thing, because I'll have 3 full weeks with the players, which is quite unprecedented. Usually it's only 10 days. So we'll have 3 full weeks, which will be great to be able to be with the players, to prepare something. And my first goal right now is Turkey.
Zinedine, bonjour.
Hi, Zinedine.
Fabrice Amperti,
Fabrice Amperti from La Provence.
La Provence, c'est ça. On est là. Tu es une légende du football français.
You're a legend of French football.
Vous faites la fierté aussi de beaucoup de personnes.
And you're the pride of many people in Marseille, among other places. Do you have a message for all these people who are dreaming with you? Yes, what I'd like to say to them is thank you for their support, for the support I've had throughout my career. They've always been there for me. And each time that I've been able to go to Provence, I've felt this. So thank you. And what I want to do today is to continue to make them dream. Because the French national team is something that makes us dream, not just me. It makes people dream, of course, when it wins. So I'm going to make sure that I'll do everything I can to continue winning.
Bonjour. Bonjour Zinedine.
Good morning, Zinedine. Radio France. We've
We've
commended your qualities as coach from the beginning of this press conference, but what is the difference between being a club manager or coach and the coach of the national team? Well, I think it's 2 completely different things. I worked for a club before, of course. Now it's a completely new chapter, but I'm not afraid. But it's actually something I really wanted to do, and it strikes the right balance between my personal life and the French national team, working for the French national team. So it really fits what I want. It's not going to be difficult. I know it's going to be a different type of job, but I'm ready for this challenge.
Bonjour Zinedine, Ilias Peters pour Combini.
I'm
votre premier
working
match
for
sur le sol
Combini.
français, ce sera face
So
à
your
l'Italie.
first match in
Bien sûr,
France
j'imagine
will
assez
be
particulier
against
pour vous.
Italy.
Est-ce que c'est une date que vous avez déjà cochée? Et quel
Is
regard vous
this
portez sur
already a date that you've focused on, that you're preparing for? Yes, I've already noted down all the dates that are coming up. They're all here in my head. And Italy special, of course, because I've played there, because I know them, because I speak Italian, all these things. But I've been preparing for these 4 matches for quite a while. I'm from L'Équipe, but now you said you've been looking at the French team for the last few weeks during the World Cup. What can you tell us about how they've played? And are you going to change things when it comes to the playing philosophy compared to what Didier Deschamps has done? Are you going to be disruptive, or are you going to continue what's been done since 2014? To answer your question, I think that the French team has been wonderful. The gameplay was amazing. I've only got good memories from it. I was there at the World Cup. It was a really wonderful time. I think everyone really supported the French team. All the supporters who were there, all the fans were amazing. There's really nothing to say. You can't criticize the team. And it was wonderful to see them. And as it comes to your question as to whether I'm going to be disruptive or not, well, of course it's going to be different. Each head coach has had their own style. Zidane is Zidane, and I'll do what I know how to do. It will not really be disruptive. It will be a continuity. Really, all I want to do, my only goal is to make sure that the conditions are right for the French team to be able to do what they do best. But of course, when it comes to my gameplay philosophy and all those things, we'll be able to talk about this in more detail later. Hi, Zinedine, Benjamin Corrèze for the Parisien. You commended Didier Deschamps' work before. Are you going to talk to him in the next days? And what about the match against Spain during the World Cup? Did that teach you anything about the team? No, I haven't planned to speak to Dédé. Of course, it would be a pleasure if he wants to, but it's not something that's planned. And your second question about the match against Spain. Well, I know very well that it was a difficult confrontation, a difficult match. When you look at the result, of course, we would have liked the French team to win, and that's not what happened. But those things can happen. And as for what I'll do, it's not going to change everything. Well, when we play Spain, we'll have to do things the way that I think, the way we've planned. But like I said, my priority right now is Turkey. Hi, Zinedine. I'm Bruno Fraioli from sportbusiness.club. I have a marketing question for you. You're a lifetime ambassador of, I think, is it Adidas or Nike? Well, you're the Adidas ambassador. No, that doesn't really exist. But are you going to put this contract on pause while you work for the team? No, not at all. Like you've said, not at all. I've got a contract. I've had a contract with Adidas for the last 30 years, and that's not going to change anything. The fact that I'm working with the French team now, well, Adidas is not going to interfere. But I'm not going to abandon my 30-year sponsorship deal. Just to be completely clear, this is obviously a point that we did bring up. So the head coach, when he will come to the training field, will be wearing Nike because that is our sponsor for the French Federation. But he can wear the shoes he wants to wear. But for the rest of the uniform, it will be Nike. And in his private life, outside of these trainings, he can do whatever he wants.
Bonjour.
Good morning.
Raquel Villa, hija de El País.
Hola.
From El País. You've been talking a lot about winning against Spain, but you know Spanish football very well. And so based on your knowledge and your experience in Real Madrid, will the style that you play with the national team be similar to that you played with Real Madrid? Well, of course it will resemble what I've did for Real Madrid. The French national team is the follow-up to that. Like I said many times before, we do not have a match planned yet with Spain, so it's not really my goal to think of the Spanish team. Okay, we'll take two more questions. Two last questions. Zinedine. I'm from MC Certel, Julien Babou. If I understand, we have to wait till September to know who will be in your team, but maybe can you tell us any more about that? Well, yes, I'm talking about September because that's when we'll present everyone, but my coaching staff right now is already set up. It's the team that I had during the years with Real Madrid, with maybe a few extras, but it's not going to change much. people
on va continuer
that I
avec,
trust and have
avec
confidence in, and will continue working with those people.
Bonjour Zinedine.
Zinedine,
Clément Gavard pour SoFoot.
Clément Gavard, en
Une première
foot.
question par rapport à mon
I have a
collègue et ami
first
Christophe Glaise qui est enfermé en Algérie depuis plus d'1 an.
question
On voit
about
que la
my
Fédé a
colleague
été
who's
très active,
been
pour son
imprisoned in
soutien,
Algeria
au
for
grand
over a
arrivant
year.
ici. Didier Deschamps a aussi soutenu
Didier Deschamps also
en tout cas sa famille avec Christophe
supported
pendant la Coupe du Monde.
Christophe's
Est-ce que vous
family
auriez,
during
vous
the
aussi, un
World
message
Cup.
à adresser à
Do you
Christophe
have a
ainsi que sa famille?
message
Et
to
une deuxième
share with
question,
Christophe and
côté
his
foot.
family?
Qu'est-ce que
And
les
then
top
another
sélectionneurs que
question,
vous avez
more football-based.
côtoyés en équipe de France ont pu vous apprendre sur ce métier comme
What have
métier
the
joueur?
other
Merci.
head coaches
que le
that you've
soutien
met
est
when you were a
comme
player in the
parent,
French
en
team?
fait,
What have
donc,
your coaches for the French team taught
avec
you
le
as
président,
a player?
la Fédération française de football
Yes,
soutient
of course, the French Football
Glaise et sa
Federation
famille, donc,
supports Christophe Glaise and
j'espère
his family,
simplement
and so
que
do I, and we
qu'il puisse
hope
rentrer
that
à
he'll
la
soon
maison,
be able to come home.
avec ses parents, ça c'est clair et net. Je me suis jamais trop
And be with his
exprimé,
family.
et c'est pas simplement pour ce dossier-là. Je crois que je le fais pour tout ce qui, en tous les cas, me touche quand je suis à l'extérieur. Je prends pas la parole.
I don't
pour,
usually talk very much
dans
publicly
n'importe quel
about
cas,
these
et
important
donc ça
issues,
ça
even
va
if they're
pas
important to
ça va
me,
pas changer.
and
Vous
that
me posez la
probably is
question,
not going to
je suis
change in the
parent, et je veux
future.
juste qu'il rentre chez lui,
But you asked me the question, and yes,
comme,
I'm
pour voir sa
also
famille.
a parent, and I really just want him to
Bonjour,
come home to be able to be
Zinedine.
with his family.
Charlotte Harper from The Athletic.
I'm Charlotte Harper from The Athletic.
Je vais poser en anglais pour
I have a question in
m'exprimer
English.
bien. Your team and your captain were subject to some awful racist comments during the World Cup. I just wondered how you would approach that going forward as a team throughout your tenure. And secondly, you haven't worked as a manager for 5 years. Can you explain professionally what you have been doing and perhaps personally as well? Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Va falloir que.
I'm over here.
Allez-y, allez-y.
Okay, so the French team received a lot of racial abuse. Oh no,
En français, oui,
English.
c'est
Sorry,
mieux.
sorry, sorry. Oh, God.
Français, ça sera mieux.
Sorry. L'équipe française a reçu beaucoup d'abus racistes pendant la Coupe du Monde. Qu'est-ce que serait votre approche en vis-à-vis de ça pendant les prochains 10 ans? Et une deuxième question. Vous n'avez pas travaillé depuis 4-5 ans. Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait pour se préparer pour aujourd'hui?
Alors, la première question.
So, to
par
answer
rapport au
your
racisme,
first question when it comes to racism,
on changera peut-être pas les choses. Moi, ce que je veux dire, c'est qu'on est dans
we
un
might
beau
not be
pays.
able to change
Avec cette
everything.
mixité.
We are in a
J'ai
wonderful
grandi dans un
country
quartier où, justement,
with
il y avait la
a
place
very
pour
mixed
tout le monde.
population. I grew up in a part of town
Et
where
ma
there
vie,
was a
c'est
place for
celle-là.
everyone, and
Donc,
that's the
c'est
life
pouvoir
I've known.
échanger avec tout le monde. Nous sommes tous
So we're
des
here
êtres
to be
humains
able
pour-
to work with
et donc
everyone.
j'espère,
We're
et il
all
faut
human
combattre, en
beings.
fait, en tous les cas, le racisme. C'est ce
And of course, I
qu'on essaie
hope,
tous de
and
faire.
I mean, what we
à sa
need to do
manière.
is to
Donc
fight
ça, c'est pour la première
racism
question. Et la deuxième
as much
question,
as we
depuis
can.
5
So
ans,
that's
je
our
ne me suis
first
pas tourné
answer.
les pouces.
And secondly,
J'ai
as
vu
to what
beaucoup,
I've been doing
beaucoup,
for the
beaucoup de
last
matchs,
4 or 5
énormément de
years,
matchs,
why I
même
haven't
plus
been
encore que quand j'étais
sitting
entraîneur de Madrid,
idly.
parce que ça me donnait la possibilité
I've
de
watched
pouvoir
many
voir beaucoup
matches,
d'autres matchs, pas simplement le match auquel
not
j'allais
just
être confronté.
those that
Donc,
I'll be
donc voilà,
playing
depuis ces
in.
5 ans, j'ai vu beaucoup
So
de
for
matchs
4
et
or
j'ai
5
vu
years,
surtout
I've been
beaucoup,
really following
beaucoup l'équipe de
players,
France,
and especially following the French team.
dans son ensemble. Je peux vous dire qu'il y a un gros potentiel.
And I can tell you that the French team really had huge
Okay,
potential.
so